Third and final race for the UDC V8 Utes, and the grid's decided by points for the meeting. No surprise that it's the Aussie on pole position. Alongside him, Mike Lightfoot and Sam Barry. Next row back, Peter Ward and Brett the Scud Rudd. And in grid position 6, it is Elton Goonan. Grid position 7 belongs to Jeff Spencer, and in 8, it is Jeff Kernahan. Grid position 9 is Peter Rocketman Robb, and in 10, it's Dave Kernahan. Grid position 11, Glenn Collinson. Well, the good news, Richard, is that the conditions have got just a little bit better from what we saw from race number 2. A dry line looks to be appearing on the circuit here at Highlands.
Still going to be slippy, Phil, but you're right, you're dead right. There's no wet line, so the cars will behave a lot better.
Good start coming there from Mike Buzz Lightfoot, but diving up the inside and probably securing second place as they head to the bus stop will be Peter Chaos Ward, and already a gap has started to develop here. Driven one of these things, Richard, and you say it's pretty hard to haul them down from pretty good sort of speed. We saw that going through the bus stop then. There was a bit of a concertina effect, wasn't there? And it's allowed Walton just to get away a little bit.
Well, what amazes me about Chris is, yeah, even in the dry, these cars, the tyre temperature comes up real quick with the weight of the car. He's just on top of that straight away, and he's getting the maximum out of his Ford right from the start, and that's impressive in this field of drivers.
This is Sam Barry. He's one of the newbies in the UDC V8 Utes this season. Currently sitting further back in the field. Here comes the big lunge down the inside from Buzz Lightfoot on Peter Chaos Ward. Well, these guys have raced long and hard for years and years and years now. And in fact, they finished second and third in last year's title chase. So they know their habits well.
But that's a good, solid pass from Mike. Made the commitment nice and early, got through, and now he can set about seeing if he can keep up with Killer.
Once again, you're on board here with Sam Barry. My pucker out in the Hawke's Bay.
Yeah, he's concentrating hard. You can see it there. It is a handful for these guys, this course in these conditions.
The Scud Rudd, another one that's made a good start. That's him sitting in the Pellet Supplies Holden, around about 4th place at the moment.
Yeah, and he's got Sam Barry giving him the hurry up right behind him. Sam's obviously not perturbed at all with that action in race 2, and he's fully on it again in race 3.
Good start too from Elliot Goonan by the look of it. That's him in the white Ford, the white bike Ford, just in behind the Scud in the Pellet Supplies Racing Holden. So that is the order. Killer Walton's gone though.
Sam again pressing Chaos real hard there, real hard.
Well, he might just going to lose a spot here, I think. Richie just dived out a little bit wide. You're on board with him here.
Yeah, he's fully on it, Phil. You can see he's got his mirrors full of Mike Lightfoot, and he's got his front view full of Chaos. He's going to be concentrating hard on staying up with Chaos, I think.
Well, that is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th on your screen at the moment, and it's as close as you like. These two finishing in these positions in the national title chase last year for the UDC V8 Utes. This is the first round of the 2014 season, and we're seeing an immediate repeat. These guys together again. 96, Mike Buzz Lightfoot, and right in behind him, Peter Chaos Ward, one of the originals in the Ward Demolition Holden.
And Mike really hasn't put a foot wrong this weekend. It's only that Killer's been much quicker on this circuit. I think Mike's driven 3 really mature races so far, so it's good to see.
There in the racing driver's lean as we go back on board with Sam Barry. As they go around the southern loop there, this battle continues. The gap's starting to open up. So maybe Chaos Ward had a little bit of a problem there because Lightfoot's got away from him, and that's brought Sam Barry right back into contention here into 3rd place now.
Well, they're all queuing up behind Chaos at the moment, so he's always spectacular and even more spectacular in the wet or the damp, so it could well be a small error he's made because he's right up behind Buzz now.
Well, we saw in race number 2, didn't we, the terrible conditions we had here at Highlands. We should mention the fact that these guys are still on their controlled Yokohama tyres. They don't have a wet setup, if you like. It's the same tyres, wet or dry, so they're doing a heck of a job, especially on this circuit because it's drying, and that is very, very confusing and very hard to negotiate for the drivers.
Yeah, the Yokohama's a great tyre. It's effectively a cut slick, so the more the rain, the heavier the water on the circuit, the tougher it is to drive the cars fast with those tyres, but it's a tyre for all conditions, and it works well on the Utes.
Now, look, no disrespect to Chris Killer Walton, but how many times have we said in motor racing, gee, it'd be good if there was no one up there in 1st place, because this battle for the minors is intriguing.
Well, this is Ute racing at its best amongst these guys. This is for 2nd place all the way down to 6th or 7th, and really one mistake by any of these guys could settle it, but at the moment, Mike's through.
Brett the Scud just going up in front of Sam Barry there, so that's Holden on Ford. It's the age-old battle. Sam Barry, the new boy, Brett the Scud in his second full season of UDC V8 Utes racing. Finished in 4th in the title chase. Pretty good effort, you'd have to say. These guys line astern at the moment. Mike Lightfoot and Peter Chaos Ward 2nd and 3rd. No Chris Handley, we mentioned that in race number 2. He's gone on to bigger and better things. Not here this season in the Placemaker's brother Ute.
Yeah, and these two guys, Mike in the Ford, Peter in the Holden, both run by Jake Stoneman's outfit. Very impressive outfit. Gets its drivers up to speed, immaculate preparation on the car. They also have an input on this car that you can see, which is Brett Rudd's Holden.
I talked to Brett, just before, might come back to that, because it looks like the patience finally wore out for Sam Barry. He thought, well, if I can't get past him, I'll go over him. He tried that.
Well, that was a big hit. It was like Brett slowed suddenly rather than got hit by Sam, so I'd be interested to see the replay of that.
There is Sam Barry. There's the hit from the onboard camera. There is the Holden, the Pellet Supplies Holden, just getting pushed out of the way. Here it is from the outward shot. Big punch in the tailgate there from Sam Barry on Brett. Yeah, and a good catch by the Scud there. That could have ended nastily in the bridge parapet, but both of those guys did well. But I think that was probably a bit more to it than just straightforward contact. Yeah, well, like I say, they'll be talking about that in the pits after the race, you can guarantee it. So the positions change a little bit for the minors. They let Goonan still there, then it's Kernahan, then it's Spencer. In behind him, another one of the newbies, by the look of it, looked like Glenn Collinson right at the back of this field. So he hasn't progressed too much at the moment. And this is the 3rd and final race for the UDC V8 Utes here for the weekend. Grid positions decided by points for the meeting, and that's why we're not seeing a lot of Chris Killer-Walton, because he is so far out in front now, it isn't funny. Oh yeah, he's gone. He's dominated on this circuit, a sign of a true professional. Collinson there at the back. We have to remember that that's a brand new Ute for this weekend. It's the first racing Ute built in New Zealand. It's a new Ford Falcon with a Coyote motor. So they're doing exceptionally well, given that these guys that they're racing against have 6-7 years of setup and preparation experience on their car. So Collinson's definitely one to watch for the future. They've got speed in it. Collinson, one of the newbies. The other one, this is Sam Barry. It must be a hallmark of driving Utes, because they all look very relaxed in the cockpit. And I'm sure, Rich, when you were driving it, you looked just as relaxed. I don't think so. Well, here comes the don't argue from Brett the Scud. Is it payback time here for Sam Barry? No, Scud thinks better of it. Yeah, Sam's car will look nice and pristine at the start of the weekend. It's seen a bit of action, but the boy's driven it hard, and he's continuing to do that. Great to watch. Through the underpass they go. Heavy damage on the front of the Bell Group Ford. That's Sam Barry's car. The Pellet Supplies Holden right in behind him. Can't find a way round at the moment. The rest of them just waiting to pounce here as the conditions worsen at Highlands. Here is Mike Buzz Lightfoot. 2nd place and 3rd, Peter Chaos Ward. Then it's Sam Barry. Then it is Brett the Scud Rudd. Yeah, and let's not forget that Walton's way out front, but this is the battle that we want to watch. And there's plenty of Utes still to come here at Highlands. The UDC V8 Utes 3rd and final race. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the brand new Highlands Motorsport Park here for round number 1 of the 2014 UDC V8 Utes Championship, and it has all been about this man. Is he going to make it a clean sweep? He won race 1 in the dry. He won race 2 in the wet from the back of the field, and here in race 3 he started off pole and he's disappeared. But there's plenty to keep our attention further back through the field. Good battles within battles. Here's Glenn Collinson on Jeff Spencer at the rear of the field. Oh, and Spencer's straight-lined it. Again, he's done well to hold on to that, but it's forced Glenn off as well. Well, Collinson has been a baptism of fire for him and Sam Barry, really, the 2 newbies. Yeah, there's a problem with that Ute looking at that. I don't know whether he's made contact anywhere along the line there, but that Ute did not look stable going through the corner there, Collinson's. Well, we'll keep an eye on that as we go back to this enthralling battle. 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th on your screen. Mike Lightfoot just out of shot for the moment. Then it's Peter Chaos Ward. Then it is Sam Barry, the new boy. Bazza, they call him. They've all got nicknames in the UDC V8 Utes, and then it's a Scud. Yeah, and Mike Buzz Lightfoot just can't shake off this battle, so they're hanging on to him with real lots of effort going in on the driving there from Chaos, but Mike can't break them. And these guys, Richard, you've got to say, are driving sensibly. You can't win the championship in round number 1, but you can certainly lose it. We saw last year how close it was at the series finale. Yeah,
and of course, Huggy had his crash in practice, and I think the guys took note of that and realised that it's a circuit that wouldn't take any prisoners if they made mistakes. And with the wet conditions, they really just had to focus on keeping it clean, driving to the conditions. But even then, there'd been plenty of action. And look, Chaos back on level terms there with Mike.
He's one of those drivers, isn't he, that isn't going to make you die wondering. His intentions are pretty clear as he gets a little bit closer to Mike Lightfoot out of Auckland. And Sam Berry wants in this fight as well. He's just waiting for these two in front of him to make a bit of a mistake.
And Chaos just won't give up. That's a hallmark of his driving, that, you know, the harder it gets, the harder he drives. So you can bet your life that Chaos there in the Ward demolition car is giving 100% effort right now.
He's just drifted a little bit wide, but I don't think Berry was close enough. Elton Goonan in the chasing bunch just up ahead of him. It is the Scud, Brett Rudd. But this battle is enthralling, and once again they get close to the pit wall as they complete another lap here at Highlands. The battle on your screen, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th out in the front. Let's not forget him, our mate from across the ditch, Chris Killer Walton in the multi-spares Ford. He's laid this UDC V8 Utes field to waste this weekend.
And look at that, Wardy made a mistake a few corners ago, but he's right back on it just a few corners later.
Have a good long look at Glenn Collinson's ute. Richard picked it before, maybe a problem for the better Ford.
Sam wide there, hanging on to it.
But it's opened the door, hasn't it? Is Goonan close enough? I don't think he is.
Well, they've changed the setup of the car between the second race and this race, and it does look more racy in Elton's hands in this race, the white car there, the Wattbike Ford, but Sam seems to have the measure of him.
Further back in the field, this is Brett Rudd. Just keeping his nose clean. He'd be pretty happy, I would think, with his weekend. It's been a pretty good start. A little bit of a cautious start. You could understand that with the inclement conditions we've had, but good points. Well, you picked it earlier on, Richard. There is real problems here for Glenn, the Coyote Collinson, to go back on board with the race leader.
There was something going on with the right front when he made that contact earlier. I don't know what he hit, whether it was just over the curb, but it looks like there's some damage to the front right of the Ford there.
Well, there's a Ford pulling into the pits, but there's a Ford pulling into victory lane at the end of this race, and there he is on your screen. Chris Killer Walton from Australia, the professional motor racing driver. In 2nd place, it is Mike Buzz Lightfoot, and then it is Chaos, Peter Ward.
Well, good to see that Wardy's kept the pressure on Mike there. These two are really driven well this meeting. A bit wide there, Wardy.
Yeah, and that's allowed the Scud to come back into configuration as well. Something we should talk about, Richard, is these guys are fierce competitors on the circuit, but off the track, they're the most sociable animals you've ever met.
Absolutely, and in this camp, these two guys, Buzz had some in-car footage yesterday, and Wardy was having a good look at that, trying to see what he was doing. So there's a lot of camaraderie between the guys. It's that kind of category, a lot of good vibes between all of the drivers. But yeah, when they're on the track, they want to win.
That's what being a racing driver's all about, and that guy knows all about it. Walton in the front, Lightfoot in 2nd, Warden 3rd, then it's Rudd.
I like the fact Wardy's got his lights on. Just, that's a Wardy thing, get the lights on, try and intimidate Mike in front of him, but I suspect Mike's having none of that.
Sam Berry just holding up the 2nd group, maybe. Elton Goonan in behind him.
Well, he's got his hands full of Kernahan.
Once again, he has that sneaky look in the mirror just to see where the opposition is. We can tell him that they're about to breathe down his neck.
Yeah, I think he's struggling a bit, maybe with the handling of that car. He's had 2 fairly sizable front hits over the weekend, and I wonder if he's struggling a little bit with the handling in the wet. He looks calm enough, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, just look at the gentle input on the steering wheel. Oh, we might have spoken a little bit too soon. We might have put the commentators' kiss of death on him because he had a big moment then. And that's allowed Elton Goonan to get closer, and also Kernahan and Spence. This man, no one's getting close to him. Chris Killer Walton in the front.
Well, I just get continually impressed with Chaos there, and Brett's just put in a real fast lap, fastest lap of the race so far, and that's brought him right back into this mix with Mike Buzz Lightfoot and Peter Chaos Ward, the 3 Stoneman guys.
That's right, SRT preparing these utilities. They said to us last year that they wanted to sweep the podium at most of the rounds, and then they wanted to sweep the podium in the championship at the end of the season. They did that, and then Brett the Scud's come along for the ride as well. Changes to the better ute of Glenn Collinson. He's back out onto the race circuit.
Yeah, I suspect they changed the wheel as quickly as they could, got him out. All the points add up over the season, so it makes sense to finish every race in the UDC utes.
That's right, I think it's 35 points for the win and further down through the scale. And Richard, this one isn't going to be decided until that checkered flag comes out, is it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time this weekend Scud's shown some real pace. He's obviously feeling very comfortable in the ute. Maybe he's protected his tyres a bit better, but he's giving Chaos the hurry up here. There's no question about that.
I was talking to the guys before this race, and they said to me that he did things a little bit different this season. They gave the ute a bit of a birthday. They took it up to SRT, they worked it over, and then he got a little bit fitter in the off-season, went to the gym a few more times, and he said he just had a bit more of a relaxed approach this year.
Yeah, I think that's very evident when you're in the paddock with those guys. They're all friendly, have a good chat. Brett's always a gentleman in the paddock with all the guys. The car's always immaculately prepared, and I think they view this season as a breakthrough season for them.
Yeah, and it could well be, as I said, second full season in the championship, finished 4th overall. Here he is, probably in contention for a 4th overall here at Highlands as well. But no one's going to beat the Aussie. He's just got it on the string at the moment. There's nothing the Kiwi boys can do about it. But they've got a fair fight on their hands anyway. Yeah,
well, I think Mike's probably accepted that he can't match Walton on outright pace, so he's focusing maybe a little bit too much on keeping Wardy behind him, and you know, that's probably why they're concertinaing up like that Mike's concentrating on defence at this stage rather than attack. But hey, there's a championship to win.
Well, that's right, and you mentioned it before, one small mistake, certainly Constantina's up the field, and we saw that just then as Woody got sideways as he came onto the chicane there. He's got it back under control now.
You've got to be impressed with Mike Lightfoot's driving in these conditions, though, with that kind of pressure on him. Second place, well worth having from a points point of view, even at this early stage of the season.
This is the man we're talking about, ute number 96, the Precision Racing Ford, right in behind him, Peter Chaos Ward, one of the originals. When Ash Cairns called for interest in the UDC utes, Peter Ward put his hand up straight away and he thought, that's a bit of me. Another one of the originals, Jeff Spencer. One of the Kernahan father and son combination there, also originals here. There at the very beginning, it started off as an Australian Trans-Tasman clash in Manfield, and it's gone from strength to strength, and it's largely because of the commitment shown to the sport by Ash Cairns. He's a bit of an unsung hero in this.
He is. There's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes with utes. It's run as a professional business. Sponsors are looked after properly. We take good care of the drivers. It's all franchised, so the guys really, you know, they're in a professional series.
So last lap here, really a parade lap for Chris Killer Walton from Australia. We're on board with him here as he heads towards the checkered flag. Absolutely unchallenged here in race number 3. Had all the advantages in the world. Started off the front of the grid because he was the highest point scorer of the meeting and is going to win this in handsome style.
Yeah, great weekend for the team. They've got a lot of sponsors here. First time out for many of them to see some motor racing. Chris has been untouchable all weekend, so what a fantastic weekend for the Multispares Ford team.
So Walton will take the major points haul on offer here in round number 1 of the 2014 UDC V8 Utes Championship. But what is going to happen about 2nd and 3rd? Are we going to see a last lap lunge from Chaos on Mike Lightfoot? Back on board here with the race leader, the dominant performer here at Highlands. He's won 3 from 3. Last corner, the crowd will rise and cheer this man as won. Chris Killer Walton gets the win. Lightfoot will hold on to 2nd place. Brett the Scud Rudd closing in, but not quite close enough to Peter Chaos Ward. Then it's Sam Barry, the newbie, and then it would be Elton Goonan. So it is Chris Killer Walton makes it a clean sweep here at Highlands. Mike Buzz Lightfoot through in 2nd place. Then it's Wardy, Brett the Scud Rudd, Sam Barry, the new boy, Elton Goonan, Jeff Kernahan, Jeff Spencer, Peter Robb, and Dave Kernahan. That's the way they finished in race number 3.